Hi, I'm Randolph Miller, and welcome to another Bounce Around Charleston. What a wonderful show we have for you today. My first guest, Jimmy Bailey. He represents a center for a better South. And we're going to talk about an entrepreneurship program that he's working with, and it's going well. Welcome to Bounce Around Charleston, Jimmy Bailey.
Well, thank you very much, and it's a pleasure to be with you and all your guests.
Thank you, sir. Now, tell us about your entrepreneurship program.
Well, first, a little background. I started something called Yes Carolina back in 2004, and for Youth Entrepreneurship South Carolina. Started it from scratch and did it for about 12 years. We trained over 1,000 teachers in the state of South Carolina, free of charge, how to go back to the classroom and teach entrepreneurship. And as a result of those 1,000, we know that over 21,000 students in the state of South Carolina made up a business plan for a proposed business. Some of them actually started the business. In fact, the Rose Kids would be one of the things that I'm so proud of, that back in 2005, I think it was, when the Rose Kids were a conversation, I bumped into Joe Riley and I said, I think I can help. We can teach these young people how to start a business on their own. They already had the business. They just didn't have all the other things that go along with it, including customer relations and so forth. So what the city did was that they developed an ordinance that in order for the Rose Kids to sell roses and become a peddler on the streets of Charleston, they had to take the entrepreneurship course. Long story short, in 2009, Joe Riley submitted that program to the U.S. Conference of Mayors as the city's entry for the Livability Award, which is the highest award given by the U.S. Conference of Mayors. Joe called me and said, Jimmy, you won't believe it, we won. I want you to go to Providence, Rhode Island with me to accept the award. One of the highlights, it was a great program. And at that conference, the guest speaker couldn't come because a strike was ongoing in Providence by the firemen. And Joe, at the last minute, said, not only do I want you to accept the award with me, I would like for you to speak to the U.S. Conference of Mayors. There were about 2,000 people.
Wow.
Every mayor in the United States was there. And so what I talked to them about what we were doing and how they could do it in their communities.
Well, tell me something, Mr. Bailey.
Why
is knowing about entrepreneurship so important?
I was very poor growing up. I got a lucky break, and that lucky break allowed me to do some things that I became successful. I have never forgotten where I came from. And so entrepreneurship, somebody understands how to start and operate a business, it can make the difference between being financially independent or always dependent on somebody for a paycheck. And particularly in these days and times when so many people can't work for one reason or other. And so what we teach people is not how smart you are in math and science and all those things. It's what you're good at, what you love to do. Let's see if we can take that and turn it into a business. And you know, and I know that for too many years, the African-American community has done the majority of work in construction and so many other things, and other people have reaped the rewards of the profits of those organizations. So to go back to my talk to the U.S. Conference of Mayors, I challenged every mayor in the United States to do two things. One, remove every impediment that would prevent a young boy or girl in this country from becoming financially independent. Mm-hmm. The second thing was the problem of economic inequality has gone on for too long. We need to do something about it. And so That was in 2009. I got busy with other things, and there all the controversies, all the awful things that are happening in the African American community nationwide. I decided that what I wanted to do is take the entrepreneurship program that we use for young people, and let's make it available for adults as well. So what I've done is I reached out to Marlon Kempson, and his people put me in touch with some ministers. Reverend Miller was at a meeting just recently that I was asked to attend, and he's the one that called and asked me all the questions and why I'm here today. That in fact, it's real interesting. You might remember Reverend Charles Haywood from St. James Presbyterian Church on James Island.
Yes.
During the time that I was doing the youth entrepreneurship work, he called me and said, can I come take the teacher training so I can bring that information back to my young people at St. James? He's the only minister that ever did it. So when I decided to do what I'm doing now, who did I call on? First person. And you know what Charles told me? He said, usually when somebody calls on something like this, I want to pray on it, but I don't need to pray on this. Let's do it. So Charles Haywood is actually the instructor that's teaching all the folks about how to start and operate their business through entrepreneurship.
Well, so tell me, how does a person get involved in this program?
Well, it's word of mouth. And what I did was, as I said, through Marlon Kempson and Beacon Bank, Tommy Baker, he was the one that really spurred the interest for me to get this going. He says, I've been working with a group of African Americans in the East Cooper, 6 Mile area of East Cooper. And I would like for you to Beacon Bank will pay for it, to teach a class of folks with George Freeman and I can't remember the other folks' names. They have an organization over there. So we did that. And now we've done 3 more. We're finishing up one right now tonight and 1 more class, and 9 classes of 2 hours apiece. And unfortunately, we have to do it on Zoom or Google Meet or what have you, because we can't meet in person yet. But we're finishing up one on Johns Island with the Progressive Club. And I can't remember Pastor Jones over there, what the name of her church. So when we finish next week, we would have provided this information to about 50 or 60 African American adults that, you know, if they are carpenter, if they are plumber, or if it's a female and they do like to cook, there's no reason why you can't take that and make a little sideline business. And let's face it, if we can show people how to bring in an extra $3,000 or $4,000 a year on top of what they're making, that could be the difference between paying for their prescription, buying food to put on the table, and why not do that?
So when a person,
I got a little choked up, I'm sorry.
no problem. So when a person finishes the course, what do they receive?
Well, they receive a certificate from us. And by the way, the course doesn't cost anything. I raise the money and I pay Charles Haywood to teach. And what an ideal class is 15, between 10 and 15. And so they finish the course. We leave them with a complete outline of the book. And if they want to buy the book from us, we sell it to them very inexpensively. So now they have the textbook and they have all the PowerPoint presentations. There's an outline of each chapter that they can go back, show them how to do finance, opportunity recognition, and all the things, targeting your audience, all the things that you got to know in order to be successful. And so that's what they get out of it.
Okay, so it's all about taking your talent and your interest and turning it into your personal business?
That's correct. For example, now I've been in the real estate business. I've retired now, but I've been in the real estate business for over 40 years. But you know what my talent is? My heart. and people know that in short order. So I said, what can I do to take the heart that I inherited from my mother and do good by this community and bring other people, give them the lucky break that I got. And if I can do that, then that's my talent that I'm sharing with others. And the talent to run a nonprofit organization, I have a fairly good contacts in the community. People trust me. And so I sent out an email to a group of people, and the money came in, and that's what that's the money that we use to pay for the course for everybody to take.
Okay, so what can the community do to help you with this program?
Well, the spread the word. Talk to your minister at your church and say, let's get in touch with this fellow with the Center for a Better South, and so that we can offer this entrepreneurial endeavor, idea, program, whatever you want to call it, to the congregation or to members of the congregation. I look forward to the day, Randolph, that we can do it in person at the church, where we can get together. You know, this technology is good and it serves a purpose, but there's nothing like that face-to-face contact where we can have all the questions and answers and so forth. So that's what they need to do. And I'm available anytime. My email address is real easy, and I don't mind you putting that out with this, but it's SEAT, S-E-A-T, 110 at AOL. Now, that tells how old I am, number one. I was formerly in the House of Representatives, and my seat number was 110. So when my son said, Dad, we need to set you up with an email address, I said, what in the world is an email address? And he said, well, I'm going to give you one that you can't forget. So that's 110 at AOL comes from.
Well, Jimmy Bailey, Bounce Around Charleston would like to thank you for being on today, talking about entrepreneurship and pushing people and motivating them into becoming a business entrepreneur. We say thank you.
I thank you.
Okay, you've heard it right here on Bounce Around Charleston. Seat 110 at AOL. Get in contact with Jimmy Bailey. We'll be right back after this break.